Posted by you/puzzleheaded tutor 999. I feel so hopeless and confused. I was married a few months ago. For the most part, my husband is the perfect partner. He keeps our apartment clean. He does most of the cooking. He sometimes surprises me with my favorite ice cream or cookies or things. He's also very generous in the bedroom. He holds me and cuddles me and tells me he loves me. I'm starting to wonder about him the other 15% of the time. Over the past month he's been so stressed. He's yelled at me a lot, at least 13 days that month. I repeatedly asked him to stop, but he denied he was doing it. He says he's not really yelling, but his volume tends to go up when he talks about intense important things. He didn't stop until I asked him to go to counseling with me. He flat out refused. He says we haven't been married too long. We don't need that, and if we do, we might as well call it quits already. He stopped most yelling after that, and now it's very rare, but it still bothers me. He also won't pay any part of the rent on our apartment. When we started there, I offered to pay the rent, so he can pay off his debts. Things have just been getting so expensive, and when we renew our rent, it will be going up. I brought up a few times that I'd like him to contribute, but all he did was yell about it and point out that I agreed to this arrangement. I did agree, but I've never paid for so many expenses before, and I want help. I'm just so stressed, and I haven't yelled at him at all. The last time I brought this up, he yelled at me about it for half an hour and told me my financial concerns were invalid. We had a conversation the other night where he essentially told me his sex expectations had changed. He wants to do something every day, and he expects me to agree to it every time he asks. He says it would be selfish not to. He did give me several no to low effort options for this, but it really feels bad to do things I don't want to in order to satisfy him, no matter the difficulty level. I was so upset I left the apartment and spent the weekend with friends. I called him from there, and he claimed I misunderstood the whole thing. I don't think I believe that. He's ignored me saying no before. He says it wasn't a big deal, because it hasn't happened very often, and it was only for a few seconds. It was only because he got carried away and was really enjoying himself. He says he doesn't do it anymore, and he hasn't done it recently, except once when I wanted to stop kissing. I've asked him not to touch me before since I was feeling overwhelmed. He sulked and guilted me about it for over an hour. I actually thought we were making progress with some kind things he's done recently. He even offered to take me out on a date. The date he took me out on was to a barbecue restaurant, one in a category that I have expressed that I don't like before. I was also on my period, which he knows means I can't eat much heavy salty food. I was so hurt I almost started crying when we pulled into the parking lot. Every time we disagree about something that happens, he insists he's right and I'm wrong. Sometimes he'll back off if I can quote our conversation, but not often. I know my memory isn't perfect, but being told I'm always wrong and he's always right is starting to make me feel crazy. He's done other things too. He doesn't want me to go out to eat with friends more than once a month. He doesn't want me to make friends with my coworkers. He doesn't want me to talk to other people about our relationship, aside from saying we're married. He also has specific clothes he doesn't want me to wear out because he says they're too revealing. After our conversations, he's removed my monthly spending limit and some rules on clothing. He's gotten a bit nicer. He's stopped yelling so much. I just still don't know about things. The thing is, before this I was in a really bad situation, and it makes it hard to tell where the lines are. My husband has never been violent with me. Part of me thinks I'm just being overdramatic or thinking things are worse than they are. I just get so anxious when I think of him now. I'm staying late at work, so I don't have to go home, and when I do go, I'm scared he'll be in a bad mood. I never know what to expect. He says I'm being silly, and I should think of all the good stuff too instead of just blaming him for the bad stuff. Don't really know why I'm posting except to rant and maybe get some validation. He doesn't think he's doing almost anything wrong. Now on to some comments before the updates. Posted by za_lords_guard. Sorry about what you are feeling and going through. I won't repeat the other commenters, but they are absolutely right. This is the behavior of a manipulative, controlling person. As a guy, I want to comment on the for the most part my husband is the perfect partner thing. There are two kinds of nice guys, genuine nice and goal-seeking nice. Genuine nice is a friend and cares about how you feel. They want to make things work together, and if you have feelings about something they listen and want to make sure you are happy too. Goal-seeking wears a nice mask. They are manipulators and more revert to nice when other tactics fail. The mask slips and you get temper, guilt, intimidation and dismissal. Your dude sounds like the latter to me. Not gonna tell you what to do. Others have shared great advice. Just wanted to say from the male point of view, your take on the situation is accurate and you are not overreacting. Put your health first and remember it should not only be you giving him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, and did I get it right? You pay all the rent so he can pay down his own debt and he is telling you how much of an allowance you have? That's a bunch of BS. OP responded with, yeah, you got it right. You probably got it right about everything. I've always had trouble with reading people, so the nice mask would work very well. Posted by Barbara_Celarent. Get out now. He does not respect you and his actions show contempt for you. Contempt kills love. He is not investing in improving the relationship because he does not care about how you feel. I put up with that exact kind of crap for years because I respected my vows, but he didn't respect his, and I don't mean that there was cheating, but there was not love, respect, true partnership, or a shared vision of the future. You are not being silly. He is being controlling, and his abusive behavior is going to escalate if you stay. OP responded with, thank you. Part of me feels like I know this. Part of me can't believe any of this is true. I would love to be wrong or overdramatic or silly. Now on to update 1. Well, you're all right. I left the crazy man behind at the old apartment. I'm staying in a safe place for now. He thinks I'm helping with family trouble. I've been looking at other apartments, and there are some very nice ones I qualify for without this leech using my money. It will be rough for a while, but possible. I intend to tell him I'm leaving only when we go get my stuff from the old apartment. I'm taking help with me. I won't go back alone. I have a lot of offers to help move. Work has been very supportive as well. They are keeping the door locked for my safety, and they are allowing me a more flexible schedule until I have a safe apartment. One question I got a lot was how long I dated my husband before we got married. We dated for almost 5 years. He wasn't like this while we were dating, or at least not enough to notice. Looking back, I can see some signs, but nothing like he is now. So, I just want to say thank you to everyone. This was a really good wake-up call. I read every comment, although I didn't respond to them all. I have never experienced this level of internet popularity, and I was unprepared to answer everyone. My husband is an abuser, and soon he will be my ex-husband. So, thank you everyone. Now on to the update 2. TLDR, my husband is gaslighting me and abusing me emotionally, psychologically, and sexually. We've only been married a few months, and he's changed a lot. I stayed somewhere else for a while and was planning to leave him. Well, my update is I have my own apartment. Many people told me in my last post that I should kick him out, since I was paying for everything. I honestly don't have the strength for that fight, and even if I did, I wouldn't feel safe with him knowing where I'm living. My parents went with me and some friends and got my stuff out of the apartment. We couldn't get furniture, but we got all the stuff I would care if he destroyed. I also told him it's over, and I'm leaving him. That was a hard conversation, and I'm glad I wasn't alone. He didn't do anything in front of other people. He just argued. He did go in a massive circle from not understanding, to claiming he only ever wanted to make me happy, to apologizing, to blaming me, and back to confusion and starting all over again. I'm so excited to be away from him and in my own apartment. I'm setting up my few things. I'm sleeping on an air mattress. No one is touching me. The only yelling is from the kids playing games at a picnic outside. I feel so at peace. I still have a long way to go and a lot of therapy to do, but I'm so happy to be free and independent. I'm going to break all the rules. I'm going to turn on all the lights in my apartment. I'm going to leave my chargers and clock plugged in. I'm going to wear whatever I want. I'm going to swear and fill my gas tank up completely and buy food that isn't organic. I'm going to spend more than $50 a month on non-necessities and sometimes treat myself to eating out. I'm going to make friends at work and eat out with my friends more than once a month. I'm going to have anyone I want over at my apartment because it's mine and I can do that. Thank you all for talking sense into me. I'm so glad to be safe and free. Now on to the last story. Posted by you/sensitiveKey9394. I stole my then best friend's wedding cake, day of the wedding. My 28F best friend, 31F, was supposed to have her wedding in mid-January. It was scheduled to be a very lavish wedding, the theme being blue because she did not want to have white on white with the snow. My best friend was being quite a bridezilla the days leading up to her wedding, and bridezilla is not quite the word for the day of. She was being a complete witch, for lack of better words. My task, of course, was going to be something simple for someone who had done so much to help me. Her words, This task was very much not simple. The drive to the bakery was 45-minute trip each way, and bride suggested I drive slowly to avoid the cake being messed up. So, I would have to take a separate route which would end up being around 1 hour 15 minutes on the trip back with the cake. I got up bright and early at 6 a.m. and began the trip shortly thereafter. By the time I got back to the venue with the hotels everyone was staying in, it was about 9 a.m. So, as I am unloading the cake, bride's mom starts to look uneasy. I thought it was because it was freezing outside, but she called over my best friend, and she went absolutely berserk. Well, somehow, she failed to inform the cake decorator that she would like the cake to be a matching blue color as well. How does one forget to do this? She adamantly denied that she forgot to inform the decorator of the color, but this was only one of many other grievances from the bride that were her own fault, that she very much blew up at and did not acknowledge they were her fault. My best friend got all in my face and told me I needed to go back ASAP. I obliged. I made the trip back to the decorator and profusely apologized as I explained the situation. Apparently, no big deal on a big wedding day for someone else and a slow day for cake decorator. I FaceTimed with my friend the whole time so she could see how everything was going. She seemed very pleased over the phone and said it was perfect. I paid for the touch-up on the cake out of pocket and left. I got back to the venue at around 12 o'clock. My friend saw the cake being set up and immediately blew up once again. She accused me of swapping out the cake she had seen over call for a different, shittier version. She did not let me even get one more word in as she backed me into my car seat and made other people back the cake in the back. She told me to come back with the correct cake, or I would be cut from the wedding. I took my chances and just drove home. I put my phone on silent and ate the cake with my boyfriend and our families. Nobody knows the real story of why I had a wedding cake randomly on a Sunday night for dinner, except for my boyfriend. I do not feel guilty. I will update this later in the day when I get home from work. I posted this on a whim last night before bed. Thank you for everyone telling me I'm not crazy. We'll be back with the aftermath story. Now on to update time. The ride home was good. She didn't realize I wasn't there until much later. BF and I like to call it the heist drive lol. About an hour and a half after I get home and tell BF the story, she starts texting and calling. Voicemails on voicemails of her threatening to call cops, send her family down to my house. Which, I wasn't even staying at my house that week, so she wouldn't know my address. I ignored all of the calls because I thought it was humorous. BF and I giggled every time she called and left a new voicemail. Total count was 56. Though, halfway through, she resorted to telling me my dress was still there and that I'd missed the ceremony. Yeah, you mean the dress that was 2 sizes too small for me and yet still insisted I could power through the ceremony with. No shit, I didn't last through the morning. Also, her pictures were royally messed up, thanks to me. She had an ombre theme going with the bridesmaids in their pictures, lightest dresses on the outside and darkest on the inside. I was the maid of honor, so my dress was to be extravagant and matched well with brides. She told me that it would completely tie the pictures together beforehand, which I didn't really pay much attention to. Seeing the photos afterwards, she was right. They looked completely screwed up and off-center. It definitely pissed her off because she had that look I knew so well from our years of friendship in her pictures. She really had been a good friend up until a few months before the wedding, so I cut her some slack for acting irrationally because I also tend to act from an emotional place. However, I am just learning to stand up for myself and not take shit from people, so cutting her off was really easy when given such a good situation to do so. To those asking, yes, she did have to get a store-bought cake. It was a sheet cake that I can only assume came from Kroger or something because I saw one very similar the weeks after. I had a really great time eating the cake with both of our families. A bonding experience that is certainly one of my dearest memories. Something else ironic that I'd like to tell you guys is that the whole reason I posted this is because BF, fiancé, proposed last night. Completely reminded me of the situation, and I'd like to let you all know I will be much more considerate when my big day comes around. I guess I should be calling BF through this fiancé, but it is still weird. He thanks you all very much for the kind comments and wants to also let you all know that he thought she was a witch the whole time. Guess he really does know best. If I've missed anything or you have any questions, I will be responding in the comments. Thank you all for the validation in my wrongdoing.